movie. Do you remember the character Chef?
Yes. Yeah, Isaac
Do you remember
Hayes.
how
Yeah.
he left the show and stuff, and the
Because they
reasons
made
why
fun of
behind it?
Scientology. They made fun of
Yeah.
Scientology. That's why he left.
And he was like,
He
"Oh,
was o-
that's weird." And they're like, "What the fuck are
right.
you talking about? We've
He
been
was
making fun of
okay with making fun of
everybody
that. Yeah,
forever."
he was okay with making fun of every other religion, but when it came to Scientology, he left.
That was
Wow.
oh, that is so great. That is a good one. What could do them? Oh. But no, okay. So get back to your other thing, to the Wiccan. I talked to my friend. And had a couple of texts back and forth, and she's really kind of, she's like, she was like, I really don't want to talk about it on podcast, as it were.
Okay.
And they don't really like to talk about it either. The coven that she found, I'm like,
She found the coven.
they don't like to talk about what they do. Ow.
That sounds very.
Yeah, that's probably one of those
Yeah.
scary ones. You know what I mean?
If she found the coven,
Shit.
she's probably getting to the deeper part of Wiccan being witchcraft
Well,
and sorcery.
but it's not like the kind of light and fluffy stuff that they're teaching online. This is sort of like
No,
don't
this
go
is the deep.
online sort
Yeah.
of stuff. This is the ones
This is
where I think they're more into, like she started talking about, anyways, it wasn't the nice lady talking anyhow. The one that's teaching her is not the
yeah.
same ones that I was looking at. Like I think there's, as we said, it's just so over the map. There's like maybe good ones and bad ones, if you
Yeah.
will.
Sounds like
I'm
she found the
kind of
bad
wonder
one.
if she found some of the bad ones. I don't
Yeah.
know. So I don't know what to think about that. Because she's kind of being a little bit, well, because she's kind of like not, I don't know. There's a history there, so I tread carefully, as it were. But
Okay.
yeah,
I don't want to
I
get
think
too
that we
deep
got
into
to it
it.
basically there in the end. It was one of those things that's over the map, so it's scary for that for me.
Yeah,
But
I
anyways, go
know.
ahead. If you have
Like
something to say on it, please,
no,
please.
like I'm saying, there's no central core beliefs of Wiccan. So I mean, it can be as as innocent as sugar or as deep as worshiping Satan. It has that whole rainbow. So I'm not saying any one part is bad. I'm just saying what that particular if that particular person is doing. So without any central core
Yeah,
beliefs, we can't really break it down into what they believe. I mean, what we're seeing online in that on
yeah,
that site is not specific to any one type of belief. It's like it's basically it's so uh
yeah.
oh god no frill. Oh, I can't think of the word. It's so general as to being applying to everybody. So
Like on the surface like that, like when we were looking at it, on just that basic one site, I'm not even saying I looked much
I'm
further
still
than
on it
that.
right now.
But
There's
just
more
that,
to it.
yeah, just that then it's like, like we talked before, that looks like gardening. But then, like you say, there's nothing that would guide anyone. But within that, there are these kind of strong nuggets, as you were.
Well, there
People that
might
are
be
really
subsects.
practicing,
Yeah.
from one or six
Right.
books or whatever it is, or 666 books, I don't know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's ones that are really doing that with faith and belief in Satan, as it were.
It
They're
could be
devil
well,
worshippers,
maybe not
and they go
Satan.
to it for, or not
Yeah,
not
like
Wiccans, but
demonology. Well, witches,
I should.
demonology.
Yeah, Wiccans are not. Yeah, this is demonology more, but
Well, we're talking
yeah,
about
but
Wiccans and
could be
witchcraft.
linked
Look,
with Wicca,
you have to
and I
separate the
think the
two
Wicca
because
is the doorway, perhaps.
exactly, yeah,
But
that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, right. Wiccan would be the doorway to
yeah,
witchcraft and
could be.
a
Yeah,
lot of
it's a
harder
natural
stuff.
doorway to
It
that.
could be right. Like
Yeah.
pot could be a gateway drug to stronger drugs. Not for everybody, but for
Hmm.
some, these uh, belief systems can become an obsession and can get deeper and deeper and deeper, and they get into stuff that maybe they shouldn't.
I like that. Do you know why I like that? Because when they
Right.
say that pot of a gateway drug, it's really like pot's a gateway drug because of who you hang out with to get pot.
It because
Who
your
do you hang out with?
personality too.
The guy that
Yep.
also that sells cocaine.
Yeah.
So if
Right.
pot, so pot's only a gateway because the same guy's holding them. So if in the same way that you could go into pot and thinking like, oh, trying to think of a
I can
celebrity
control
that
it.
smokes pot or something.
You
There's a celebrity that smokes
try to
pot
find one that
and he's
doesn't.
famous, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't hurt everyone the same way. But then you get into the guy that's actually the crack dealer, and whoops, and it's like Wicca too. It's so wide over the place, right? Like pot doesn't have to do you bad, but it might do you bad. But Wicca, it's the
Right.
same thing. It's
Yeah.
all over the place. It doesn't have to do bad, but it can do you
It
bad.
can. Right.
It's
Right.
that kind of thing. It
Well,
could,
it's
because the people you're hanging around with are selling Wicca, but they're also selling like incantations for the devil. You know what I mean?
Well, it
They're
goes
like,
to
"Hey,
personality too,
it's
Fraser.
gardening. No, it's not. It's evil. You know?
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
and I think it's going a lot to personality too, because if you have this
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah, yeah.
personality, that's good. It's, just going to drugs right now. If you have an addictive personality, you love that high,
Hmm.
but you want something more intense. You might go to something harder to get that better, bigger high. So if you're into Wiccan and you want something a little more intense, you might delve into witchcraft and then potions, incantations, demonology, other stuff like that. So it depends on your personality too. But you can like just
It's
scratch the
like,
surface, be happy with that. But your
oh,
personality determines you
yeah.
want to get deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's a lot of who you know, what you know, and your personality. And my
Would it
father,
be
for instance,
total? Yeah.
oh,
Pardon?
okay, no, my father, for instance, he had a very addictive personality. So when he was smoking, he would smoke 4 packs a day, and then he quit completely. So it's like an all or nothing kind of thing. Some people don't like that.
Hmm. I wonder. No, I'm going to put it in quotation marks. It's kind of, anyways. Is it with you and say with Sean? You know, those kind of trying to make a joke. Is it sacrilegious to talk about Star Wars?
No, not at all. Why?
Okay, because some people are like Star Trek or Star Wars. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, that was a
Yeah.
dumb joke. It was
No,
because
there
I
are
know
people.
that.
Yeah, there are people who
Like,
are
I think my
either
brother, he's
or.
like, oh, Star Wars, it's good, but it's fantasy, whereas Star Trek is science fiction, you see.
You're
Anyways,
right.
whatever. No, I have another point I
Yeah.
want to make, but it was more like, um, you know, that if you're a Jedi and you see that there's this certain power with the universe, like it's almost like Jedi is like Wicca, right? Is that true? It's almost like that,
Maybe
right? Or
it's
there's
more
kind of,
stiff.
obviously it's an
Oh yeah.
imaginary world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
if you can see that you can focus the energy of the
I got a
universe
perfect thing for you.
for
Wait,
good,
listen
but
to
then it's
this.
like, oh, but I want to do some of that dark stuff. So then you're pulled over into that guy that says he can give you more if you go to the dark side. It's almost like that
That
Wicca,
would be
you know? Maybe?
exactly as I was
Kind of?
gonna say. Like Sith would be Wiccan, and Jedi would be more into the demonology, dark parts of the witchcraft. So you have like two
Hmm.
ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and then it's sort of, yeah. And
We talk
well,
like
you
Anakin
know, and there was
Skywalker. He wanted,
guiding dogma to both of them. Just like there's kind of,
yeah.
well, guiding, there's sort of guiding dogma to Wicca, but it's not strong enough to say, hey, don't do it. Like they even say right at the
Well, let's
13th
say
point, it's like, we won't do it to harm anyone. But it's like, how are you going to make everyone not harm everyone kind of thing? I don't know. Something like
yeah.
that.
Well,
Or why isn't that point
let's
number one?
put let's put a Force user as a Wiccan now. So a Jedi being a Wiccan now, they had that they aren't they don't want to harm anybody. They want power, but not at the expense of anybody else, and they tend to help.
Mhm.
Whereas Sith, being the darker part of Wiccan and witchcraft, they're all about themselves. They want more power. They don't care how they get it. They'll hurt other people to get it. So like Anakin Skywalker, I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan or not, but Anakin Skywalker wanted to
Yeah.
save his wife from dying. So
Yeah.
he was he was influenced by Palpatine, who was a Sith Lord, in order to get a power to save people from dying. That's only a Sith power. So he was trying to help his wife, which was a good thing, but he was doing bad things in order to get it. So in
Yeah.
order to become a strong Sith, he had to kill all these Jedi, including younglings. So he killed hundreds and
Yeah.
hundreds of
That,
people.
he just went,
So
yeah, that was
it
the
was like,
slippery slope thing.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So he just
Not
wanted to
slippery
help one
slope.
person. So is that one person's life worth all those hundreds? To him it was, but that's the evil that he
Mhm.
traded to become or to have this kind of power. Ultimately, it
But
didn't
like
work.
one little step at a time, though, right? They tried
Exactly.
to
Yeah,
build it up. I didn't really like those first three because I thought,
I
wow, they
did.
had a long way to go. They had to build him from a nice kid and just one step at a time till he got to that point of like, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do what you want. And he got there, but I thought, really, really? He was a, but I
Oh, it
see
was a
he
whole
had the
story.
power of foresight, so he could
Yeah.
see her dying. He could
Right.
see her dying. He knew that that was going to be true. Like there was no doubt,
Yeah.
right? He,
The funny part is though, if he didn't do anything, he stayed as a Jedi. She might not have died. She died
but
because he
that's,
became a Sith.
yeah. It's true, and I don't really. That part of it is like, wait, is there free choice? Please tell me that's not mean that it was going to happen anyways. You know what I mean? But I hope that,
We're
or
going to
it's almost
Calvinism
like that,
now.
like
Yeah.
right. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like a perfect, clear message. He misinterpreted what it looked like, and obviously she didn't die. He perceived that message that she was. Oh no, she died in childbirth.
She
Oh
died
no, that
after
was
after childbirth, but she died because she didn't. Well, she died because she thought she lost Anakin. That's why she died. She saw him turn to the evil side. Um, so it's like
Oh no, but
his
he thought
choices.
she was dead earlier.
His choices made a
He th
self-serving
I
prophecy.
don't know. Anyways,
His choices
sorry.
were a self-serving prophecy. So his choices killed her. Had he stayed a Jedi, had he not done anything like that, he might have had his kids not, you know, she wouldn't have died. He would have had two normal kids. They would have grown up as powerful Jedi, and everything would have been fine. But his choices, he lost all of his limbs. He was burned terribly. He had that wear that suit the rest of his life, and his wife ends up dying,
Yeah,
and he loses his kids anyway. Well, yeah. So
yeah.
it's
It
like
was just, but then he got it back in the end somehow.
he redeemed
So he
himself in the end.
reconciled before the end, as it were.
Yeah,
But it was, yeah, no, but still, okay. Wait, sorry. So it's,
he was the chosen one.
but just that, like before he gets burned. So just his path to evil. Ah, sorry, I'm trying to bring it back to our discussions, but
No, you can. I think you can reconcile it with what we were talking about because, like, is
just kind of the Wicca thing, but also just like the path from how to
well,
make one bad decision to again, like
right.
he
Well,
gets torn
Palpatine
away
was
from his
trying to.
family, and then
Well, Palpatine was controlling him, manipulating him in order to bring him to the dark side. So he was telling him all
and
these
he had
things
that
that
ego
might or
too. He had
might
a
not have been
natural
true.
ego about him, right? He
Right.
had a natural
Yeah.
prideful self, and that was he was
Yes.
just poking
He
him like
wa-
you deserve better.
Anakin wanted
Why aren't
more and
they
more
like
power.
rewarding you
Right.
more?
Yeah,
You
he
know,
wanted more. He
and so whereas
desired more and more power, which is what a Jedi doesn't
and he
want.
wasn't even
Jedi
supposed
doesn't
to have
want
a
that.
girlfriend either. He
No,
wasn't supposed to have a girlfriend. That's it.
no,
Which was
no.
kind
They
of a
want
weird
him to
thing. I
marry.
thought, like, man,
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know,
I know
but
that.
he
It's
wasn't
just
supposed to
I
have
don't
one.
believe. It's like a Catholic priest. I don't know if they should stay unmarried or not, but it's another story for another
No,
time. But
that's it. I think it's
but
better
these
to
little
like. I
things,
think
well,
another
like I said,
story.
his
Not that I have anything against
personality.
Catholic priests, but I think it's like it's a tough thing to do. And if you want to really
Yeah.
concentrate on something, but I think that the human flesh is just. I don't know if we can really expect someone to do that and be sane afterwards.
Many
It'd be
do.
good, but concentrate on what you're doing. But
Yeah.
just don't blue ball out your whole
It's
life.
actually yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's
Like you
biblical
gotta get.
anyway. You want to serve God,
It's a
get married,
biblical
but
thing.
we'll get
Yeah.
into that another time. But his
Yeah, and what
personality,
that.
Anakin's personality, being a Jedi, because a Jedi being Wiccan, he wanted more and more power. So the more power he wanted, the deeper he got into the dark side. So
Mhm.
when he
Yeah.
fought Count Dooku the second time, Count Dooku told him, "I sense anger, I sense hate in you. Why don't you use them?" So when he started using that anger and hate in the fight, he won. So the
Yeah.
anger and hate gives you power, but it's a wrong kind of power because it ends up
Yeah.
deforming you in some way. So every Sith in the history of Sith have some kind of physical deformation because of the battles, their choices, or Sith alchemy. Sith alchemy, let's say there is Sith alchemy, Sith witchcraft. So let's we can bring that into
There we
our
go. There we
discussion
go.
of witchcraft. So performing Sith alchemy and witchcraft takes a toll on your body. It deforms you in some way. So Palpatine, when he looks normal, that was a Sith hologram or some kind of spell in order for him to look normal. After the fight with Mace Windu, when he became deformed, he became deformed. That was his way he normally looked, because being a Sith
Uh,
deforms you. So it's
okay, I see. And then he tried to use that as an excuse. But he was actually that ugly.
right,
He was just had this mask spell on or something like this.
exactly
Yeah.
right. It's all right. It's a mask spell. Yeah, he was really that ugly all along. And it takes a
Because
lot of power
oh,
and
because
strength
you
to keep that mask on too.
so you would have looked into like I hadn't looked into much beyond those 6 movies or 7 or
Neither have I. I
8.
haven't seen anything
I haven't
else.
watched the last one actually at all.
Neither did
And the
I.
one before that I watched it, but I wasn't. I was very tired, so I tried to think about the
Disney
plot
screwed it up.
afterwards. I'm like, I don't know. It was looks pretty cool. I guess
Disney
what's
screwed it
his
up. So
name?
we're not.
Indiana Jones there died. I don't know. That was terrible. And then but all
Han
the good
Solo.
friends are there, robots
Han
and stuff.
Solo. Yeah.
Han Solo, that's right. Just kidding. But yeah, no. It's no, but they're really fun films. I really like getting into just It's like a whole nother universe that someone created for you to just play
In a
around
galaxy far, far away.
in a galaxy far, far away. And so we're, that we can imagine these things. Like it's just great to see. I don't know what
Yeah,
we
but
call it, magic, or
George
I shouldn't have
Lucas
said
always.
magic, but something like this, like just greater powers at work and just how it could interact with morality. Like, what if there was like 100 people in
Yeah,
the world that could
exactly. As I was
really
gonna say,
manipulate all these things? That
I
would
was gonna
like
say George
change how.
Lucas had this vision of pure good and pure evil, and how easy it is to fall from that pure good side to pure evil, just being selfish and wanting more power. It's that whole thing. So we can go from person being a Christian like your friend to practicing witchcraft or Wiccan, now coming into a coven. So that whole fall from being totally good to totally evil. Not to say she's totally evil. I'm not saying that, but it's like that. It's a progression. And deep, I'm
How
afraid the
one
deeper
can
that
go
she
there
gets
and
into it,
come back
yeah.
too, like,
Oh, you can always come
I
back.
don't know,
And Darth Vader
like
came
it's
back.
not
He
like
destroyed
there's
Emperor Palpatine.
that's it. I was thinking one time I was like about not that they were ever like identical people or something, but like Sean and his friend Steve, they were coming up on a certain path and obviously
Yeah.
went different ways, and I think they're both coming into a more and more loving kind of, well, I'm not saying that Sean was like unloving or something, but everybody was talking about,
No, Sean
Steve
even
being
actually
very
admitted that he was
nihilistic
having a
before.
lot. Sean was having he actually admitted he was having problems with his addiction and his personality, being angry all the time. So like he felt fall from grace, maybe I don't know, but he
Yeah, no,
understood
no,
he had a
no.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
but
I'm just
I'm
saying.
talking more about like the Steve kind of nihilistic problem, right? And to
Oh yeah,
come
yeah,
up from there, basically, and they come from, I guess the
a baby
similarity
step.
between
Yeah,
them was more the kind of the party, the rock and roll kind of thing, right? And then
to
that, like
go
again, one went maybe
to
more
actually want to have
nihilistic
a
and one went
charity.
more.
Yeah, but to Steve to actually have a charity too. Donate to
Yeah,
somebody. I
his
mean, it's amazing. I mean, that's
Snow
like
Tires charity is weird ass
right,
charity, but it was
but
just like,
still, it's
so yeah,
saving
I try and
people.
say Steve, but Steve's obviously not a nihilist, and I don't ever
No.
believe it. He claims to be, but it's like, come on, buddy,
No, I don't. Like you
that's not
said,
what a
there's no such
nihilist
thing as
is.
pure nihilism. But
There's no
like you
such thing.
say, Steve, that totally selfish attitude now to wanting to have a
Yeah.
charity to save people to have snow tires in Canada. That's a big step, and
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
step from total admission of nihilism to
Exactly.
think, well, maybe there's something bigger I should donate to. Maybe there's something I should
That's
help.
it. And that's
And
the same thing like these guys that like kind of turn over a new leaf in any kind of way. Like that you would say if you saw them like in their day, as it were. Like even reformed criminals, after 20 years in prison, someone's just like found God or whatever, right? Whereas
yeah,
if you would have met them back in the day, it's like that's what pure evil is. They've got like
right,
tattoos
yeah,
all here. They're just like killing people when they can, and then they just reformed in church or in prison. Say, I just give that example. Like that would be the most evil thing to the most good. That actually can happen. You've seen these kind of
can.
examples too, right? So that
I tend to
evil
see
exists, but it can be kind of pushed out, as it were, or pushed back, even
good is
within a
always more
one
powerful
person,
than
right?
evil. Even in
That's
the
it.
Bible, good
So
is more powerful than evil. But I tend to think that these criminals who turned their lives around and found God only did it because they got caught. I don't think they would have done it if they didn't get caught. But you don't
I
know
don't
too.
know.
There's a lot of criminals too that change
It's a
their life around
powerful
because
motivator. You get a lot of time to think
no,
about
it
your
is. It is.
mistakes, right? So yeah,
It
I
is.
agree. Like you might have to get caught, might have to spend that time in the cell to really, or maybe it takes another 15 years until the guy finally goes like, oh wait, I am a dick, I don't
Yeah.
know. But you get a
Like I
chance,
said,
and not all ones do reform either.
I had a friend who was a friend of a friend who was a hardcore drug user. He took a bad acid trip. He saw God, got completely off drugs, and now he's a kind of a preacher or something. So he
Yeah,
never got caught either. So there's
yeah, it
influences.
can
Yeah.
work. And it'll be your mother or your grandmother, whatever it turns you around. Like again, there's going to be yeah, the
Well,
crack.
Sean
There's going to
said
crack in that evil heart.
his son was the one that turned him around. He wanted to get clean for
Is
his
Sean
son too.
watching?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought
No,
you. Oh, I thought he was a comment he was saying. Oh, I thought. Okay,
no,
sorry.
no,
I thought you were reading his comment. I'm like,
no, no, no,
really?
no.
No.
No, Sean said he wanted to get clean. Sorry, Sean, for making a mistake, but he said he wanted to get clean for his son too. And you saw the problems he had with his
Yeah.
anger. So it's not like he wasn't a bad person, but he wants to make himself a better person. So he's
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah.
training.
No, and
Yeah.
we do. Yeah. And I think that that's the thing too. Like well, anyways, I can't read other people's minds, but I think that's a desire. We want to get better, and then some people would see that as get more powerful, and they're just it's just driving that same energy,
It's a good
better,
one,
better,
yeah.
better, but it's not better in terms of, for me, more loving or something, you know. Better is more, their bank account is bigger. Better is, again, better for Anakin Skywalker. Better is saving this next woman in my life because I lost my mother because I didn't get there fast enough. So I have to try harder this
Yeah.
time. So better is trying harder to save my wife. So just what better is, I don't know where I was going with that, but it felt like I was like, if you think it's better, you've just got that messed up definition of what better
If
is,
it's
right?
better but
Something
doesn't
like
hurt
that.
anybody else while you're getting better, that's the key.
And
Gotta hurt
yeah,
somebody else
and to
to get
keep
better.
that golden rule in your pocket, right? Or
Exactly.
no, that's
Yeah.
the golden dog poop rule. Make sure don't use that one.
That's why you're training
And
as
just
a
to keep it
Jedi.
clear, like,
When you train as a
mhm,
Jedi, you keep everything internal. You work out physically, mentally. You get stronger in the Force. For a Sith, it's a lot of external. You hurt other people to get their power to become.
right, yeah.
You do evil. You perform Sith magic, and that's how you become powerful. So it's like one is self improvement. The other one is you're improving yourself, but you're becoming powerful based on of the to the disadvantage of other people.
Disadvantage, yeah.
Right. So
Did you?
or even killing
Oh,
them. Good.
was that Star Trek? Star Trek, I think. One of these
What?
new ones. Maybe you don't like those ones either.
Oh, I
But
love
where they're
Star Trek.
like pulling life out of people? Was that Star Trek?
I
And
think
then the guy
that's
gets
no,
stronger when he
that's
pull
Star
life
Wars.
out of.
That might be Star Wars. Are you talking about Snoke? That's Star Wars.
No, but like the
Star
big
Trek doesn't
bad
have
guy,
that.
he had some machine that would kind of suck the life force out of
That was
people, and then
Snoke.
he would get it.
That was
No, it
Snoke. I
must have
didn't
been.
see it, but that was Snoke. That's Star Trek. Star Wars. Sorry. Supreme Leader Snoke.
What was the most recent Star Trek about?
Oh
The
God,
one
I
with the
don't
white
remember.
people. No?
The
Like the girl
movie?
that was like really white and had like lines or something. Like the oh, what are these new ones, the ones that's not like
I
the other
don't know.
ones.
The last one I
Star
saw was was with Khan, the remake with Khan. That was Star Trek. I don't remember what it was.
That's
The new
that was
cast.
the second movie. That's Star Trek 2. That's the last one you
Right.
saw. There's been like
That was the last
15.
one I saw. Yeah. I don't go
You
out
didn't
to the
see
movies.
4?
No,
You
no. I
didn't
don't go out to the
see
movies. If it comes out on cable, I'll watch it, but I don't go to the
Search for
movies anymore.
Spock?
That's, oh God. How far now? You want to go back? That's the original one with Leonard Nimoy. You want to go back?
No, What's the one where they're in San Francisco with the whales?
Oh,
I love that one.
the Voyage Home.
Um, Voyage Home. Apparently they had like no budget, and Leonard Nimoy took a hold of
Yeah,
it, and he says, "Okay, we'll do this one in like San Francisco," and they did it like with
that
no
was
money,
it did it
and it
fantastically
was
too.
hilarious. I thought it was the funniest
It
one
was
I ever
great.
saw.
That was a good movie. It was funny. I don't know about funny, but it was good.
But well, comical in different ways that the other ones weren't. And apparently, well, I think Leonard Nimoy did a lot of that stuff, but apparently this one, I think he was more hands-on. He really was just having a little bit more of a fluffy time. And yeah, it was, anyways. What was I looking up? Star Trek. What are
I
the new
don't
movies
know.
called now?
I have no idea.
Well, I punch in Star
Google
Trek
Star
and it
Trek
only
movies.
comes up with like the
Let's see.
original series, like
No,
oh, two.
Wait, Star Trek movie list. That's what I'm doing.
I don't know.
Okay,
There's just
so let's see here. I got the movie list up right now. Star Trek 14. Oh, Star Trek Beyond. Well, I gotta go to the bathroom. Into Darkness was the one that I saw. Star Trek Beyond I didn't see, and Star Trek 14 I guess they're making. Give me.
I was trying to look up. I think it is the Beyond one. I don't know. They were doing something. I thought they were
I didn't
somehow
see the
killing
Beyond yet.
people.
That was the last one they made. So.
Like somehow they're killing people to take their energy or something, darn thing like that. I don't know. Anyways, just that idea of taking
Oh, you're
power,
right.
like
No,
use the
yeah, I
bad guy
got.
using powers to
Yes, you're
like
right.
taking
I
the
just
power of
pulled
other people to get himself more powerful,
I was looking at the
and that was it.
synopsis right now. A surprise attack in outer space forces the Enterprise to crash land on a mysterious world. The assault came from Krall, Idris Elba. I like him. A lizard-like dictator who derives his energy by sucking the life out of his victims. Crawl needs an
There it
ancient
is.
and valuable artifact that's aboard the badly damaged. Gotta hit more. Starship. Left stranded in the rugged wilderness, Kirk, Chris
How
Pine,
are you reading?
Spock, Zachary Quinto, and the rest of the crew must now battle a deadly alien race while trying to find a way off their hostile planet. Okay, it sounds interesting. I would watch it. Love Star Trek.
Yeah, it's just recent too. I bet you I could find that too.
It was May
Yeah.
2016, so it hasn't even come on cable yet.
Oh
I
yeah,
only
that's
watch
good.
it if it comes on cable. I will never go to a movie theater ever again. I will never ever support Hollywood ever
No,
again.
no. God, what a waste of time and like just yeah. I'm with you on that one. I do like I was saying to somewhere else. Anyways, it was just that what I have time for. Almost like the thing that you said. He's like, when you have a family, you'll probably quit the group. And it was like, wait,
Maybe.
I have a family. And it
Oh,
was like,
that was.
sorry, so that just kind of
Oh,
say,
just
what should
suggestion.
I be doing? And going down into some of those rabbit holes, like just watching the suggested views of Sean's, it's like, unless I be talking about it, I don't, I don't know if I want to jump into sort of like deep Passover kind of discussions. That's not where I'm at now. I guess in my journey, it's just like,
Well, okay.
this gets sort of
Eventually,
really
yeah.
deep.
Well,
Like,
when you're
why
ready.
did Jesus resurrect? It's like, let's talk to the historians about this one.
Yeah, and you start falling
No,
asleep.
it's like
Yeah.
when I'm talking
No.
about being a general revelation guy, it's like saying that kind of message, that kind of like dusty message, as it were, from both sides. Like the other one is going to be just as dusty as this one, in the sense that it's like I need something with a little bit of life on it. It's springtime. I'm going to go watch stuff grow outside and
Yeah,
not talk about
yeah,
stuff
yeah, yeah.
that regrew 2,000 years ago, as it were,
Almost
rebirthed.
good.
So while it's not like trying to diminish it, it's just sort of like I got like family to live right here. So the message
No, I
for
understand
me
that.
just again, like I
No,
said to Sean's thing about epistemology, he was like, "You have to know epistemology to learn about Christ." I'm like, it just renders it a lot less accessible, right? It's like 2.5 hours on a Saturday. Are you? But I
it might
just
burn
I
an
get
hour and
my
a half.
kid.
I don't know.
I'm going to show you my apartment here. That'll say it needs 2.5 hours of cleaning. 22 and a half hours of cleaning. But no, it was things like that too. Like when we are talking about the possible value in this thing. See, this is my money making idea. But man, I'm just happy that Facebook's working again.
Me
Well,
too.
I
I
guess it
need
got
this money.
sketchy in the middle there, but
So, okay, so what's the secret truth? Finding Frank and Fraser and the Sith and the Wiccans.
no, are those the
How's this
same? It was
conversation?
Sith, Wiccans,
Sith,
Jedi's,
Sith,
and
Wiccan with Jedi, Sith were
oh,
witches or sorcerers. Yeah, so,
which
yeah.
that was it. That was it. We found him. We found him.
That was a
Found you.
great, I like that I love that analogy. That worked out
It
really
works so
well.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like it too. It really worked well with me. Yeah. Anyways, hoping. Yeah, we're fighting back. Wait, what are we now then? Are we the rebels or are we the Empire? Oh gosh,
Oh, God, I would say, I don't know, I'd say,
depends when in the
oh,
storyline.
the rebels wanted freedom. The Empire were like, I would say, okay, George Lucas modeled the Empire after the Third Reich, Germany, 1940s,
Yeah.
where there was absolute power. That's fascism, and the rebels were more like the freedom fight, American freedom fighters fighting against Britain and wanted just absolute freedom. So saying rebels has a bad connotation, but in this case, rebels being the good guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. Against yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But a
They
total
want, they don't,
freedom.
they were,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they were fighting against that totalitarianism.
We might get more into this. It sounds like you know pretty deeply the the
Yeah, I
whole
do. Star Wars folklore, yeah,
universe of
I
Star
do.
Wars. This could
I
no, and
do.
just to work it into analogies, because it's not only me that Star Wars works for too to explain things. You know what I
A
mean?
lot of people work for you.
Right? And you can just make those little links, like, hey, this is what we're talking, like the mechanic and the car
Yeah,
thing, the mechanic and the
right.
prophet, or no, yeah, it was a mechanic as a
It was
that sort of
Mechanic of
thing.
the Prophet. Yeah, you're right. In fact, George
Um,
Lucas designed Darth Vader's helmet to represent the German SS helmets. That's the design.
oh yeah,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think about it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it kind of has a little flare down like this or
Yeah,
something. No, is that
right.
right? Yeah?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I
It
think I
comes
get.
down with the flare.
Yeah, it
It doesn't
definitely.
have
Yeah,
that little,
it,
just without the little
yeah. It
point on
make
top.
it makes me think about that. You know, that sort of like the whole troop thing. They're all identical. It's almost like
They're all
that.
identical. Yeah, right. It
You
was
know,
right. There
like
was
the
no right. There was no diversity within the troops. It was like all black and white and everything. That they wanted
they were black,
everybody had
but
to
I
be in
mean, it
lockstep. Well,
a
everybody
lockstep,
had to
and
be
it
in
was just the sort
lockstep.
of
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and how
Any kind of independent thought was taken away, and the
or just
rebels the
visibility
exact opposite.
differences either.
Right.
Everyone should be blonde. Everyone should be
Right. Yeah. Right.
tall, and obviously, they
Right.
wanted them all to be Aryan, basically. But just that
Aryan. Right.
homogeneity, trying to
Well, you
search
would
for
be perfect
homogeneity.
Aryan. You would be more Aryan. You got
It's
blonde
good.
hair, blue eyes, tall.
I know. Oh, Hitler would have loved me.
Yeah, he would have loved you. What was I gonna say? The
Not a
rebels.
good thought. It's like I don't want Hitler to love me. I don't want no Hitler. Fuck off. Fuck
You would
you.
have lived.
No, it's like,
Well, I'm Italian. We were allies with the Germans, or Germans too. So
that's right. He would like you too.
that's
We
right.
have something else in common.
There you go.
Hitler
Allies to
likes us
Hitler.
both.
That's not a truth I
Oh
wanted to
God.
find.
This is not what I wanted to find out tonight. Why couldn't we have been Jedis? I thought we were
Yeah, right.
now we're allied with Hitler somehow. How did we get there? That was a really funny path though.
Oh God.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting silly. I'm getting silly. Unlike
Yeah,
before.
we're both
Yeah,
are.
sorry, we can sign off now with that extra Third Reich.
All right. All right, so I'm just gonna, I don't know, what was I gonna say? This is Secret Truth, Finding
I'll
Frank and
just
Fraser, and a whole lot of this not stuff we didn't want to find. All right, good night, Fraser. Talk to you soon.
uh,
God bless.
yeah, good.